My perspective has always been that connectivity is not a guaranteed. So, as Alastair was saying, the majority of farms in America and around the world are in very rural areas, right? Large swaths of land, but also challenging environments, lots of topography. Think of, Western United States. We've got mountains all over the place. So connectivity is not guaranteed. In an area you don't have connectivity, you have a limited set of resources. Humans, there's less labor. So how do you address that by a set of technology and a connectivity solution that basically gives farmers tools, insights into what the crops are doing?
The LoRaWAN is inside for technology resolution many problems for topography. You see it for Brazil. Brazil, it's a different topography. It depends for states, depends for the location. Have a problem for connection.
So our challenge was to fix the problem of lack of global connectivity, hence the fact we started to look at low Earth orbiting satellites. But another key factor in the challenge we put in front of ourselves was how do we create affordable connectivity? And that's really key to driving this forward. And that's where we decided LoRaWAN was the technology that we were going to adopt. It was the affordability in implementing LoRaWAN, not on just terrestrial connectivity, but also on satellite connectivity.
Obviously, low cost is huge. If a farmer has to decide on, I'm going to spend $10,000 on a technology that improves my yield or reduces my amount of water consumption because of climate change and drought conditions, blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to take that $10,000, what am I going to apply it to? I'm going to buy a new tractor. I'm going to hire some labor. Am I going to replace the irrigation system with just traditional methods today? Or am I going to augment it with some type of digital technology? So it has to be super cost effective. If I have a weather station or a solution or water monitoring, or we're doing air quality or whatever it may be, or soil moisture, connectivity is different as I move down the coast in my travels and deploy networks and sensors. But the one thing that's constant is the array of sensors that is available, tested, certified in the LoRaWAN ecosystem. But at the same time, as Alastair pointed out, it might not be just a terrestrial connectivity solution. We've been partnering with Wyld and Lacuna and Swarm Space and others. Satellite is an option that we need to have, and being able to have a sensor, a set of solutions that can go both terrestrial and satellite is going to be huge, because in the United States, I'd love to say there's LoRaWAN everywhere, but it's not happening in the United States like it is in Europe. So,
with technology sometimes not moving quick enough, if you could snap your fingers and have something happen right now that would make all of your missions get a little bit closer to where you want it to be, what would it be?
Satellites up into space that natively do LoRaWAN and then pass over at 15-minute intervals or less.
Okay.
That's my answer as well. So I think you'll find that answer is, satellites passing overhead every 15 minutes and collecting data and helping farmers, give them insight to how to help solve these problems we talked about earlier.
And how far are we from that point? Is that a dream, or is that on its way?
It's real. And it's not just Wyld. There's other companies Scott talked about that are up there providing these solutions.
What do we need to do to improve the education and knowledge about this solution so that it is adopted on a much broader scale? And I know
you talk to a farmer, he can barely say LoRaWAN. I'm not saying it's a capability, but it's like they say LoRaWAN. It's hilarious. They don't care about the technology. They care about the solution that addresses their problems.
I think you're absolutely right there, Scott. You've got to address it through both the large corporates, the Bayers of the world, etc., but you also need to get down to the distributors and the integrators, the resellers of seed, because these guys have the trust of the farming community, and they just want their data. They don't care how they get their data, they just want their data. I'd also say that I think we should also start to look at the insurance companies. I think they're going to start to make a play in this area where, particularly now, we see what's happening with the security on food supply chain. I think we should start to approach these guys in the UK, it's the NFU. It's a huge insurance company focusing on agriculture, not anymore, but used to focus on agriculture. And these are the guys we should also be speaking to get that message out to the end users.
The future professionals for technology need know more the LoRaWAN, need know more about this technology, because now it's know about the 5G, about the cell phone technology, about the Bluetooth technology, but they not know the LoRaWAN, they not know the expertise for this technology.
Educating that next generation is, yeah, actually an excellent point. So.
Have you considered 5G extended networks instead?
It's all about creating a hybrid terrestrial LoRaWAN satellite network. And I think when the question on the 5G bit, to be honest with you, I've looked at 5G. I lived 5G. I was there when it was 2G. I'm that old. But to be honest with you, I just don't see the return on the investment for operators to look at rolling out NB-IoT or 5G to provide coverage, particularly in agriculture. You know, it's just not there.
I need connectivities for sensors that run on a battery for 10 years. A farmer doesn't want to replace the battery every year or every season. I want it 10 years in the ground, reporting small bits of data. Use that data insights in a data lake to make informed decisions around. Then I take the high bandwidth, low latency applications like augmented reality, autonomous tractors, and apply that with things like either public 5G or private 5G. So it's about solving the connectivity problem for the use case at the time in the most cost-effective way. The promise of 5G everywhere is going to come, but it's going to be a mixture of LoRaWAN, satellite, public and private LTE connectivity of some sort.
We're getting a thumbs up on the answer there, so that's good. So.
I was hearing about like the hybrid solution of having both terrestrial and satellite communication, and I wanted to know what's like the hardest part of having like a standardized solution that can work like worldwide.
There's some proprietariness to it, right? So what radio chipsets you choose, what platform you choose, the availability of the satellites and all that stuff. It's a little complicated to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to create a single solution that roams across all of them.
But certainly
deeply involved.
LoRaWAN, I mean, if you look at the ecosystem in general, really the interoperability, you know, you don't like one sensor, you know, there's another sensor guy. As long as they're adhering to the LoRaWAN, it's going to be interoperable.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.